loy by una far. Gai ba nyo lo tuen. Gai ba nyo lo tuen lo.
Yama kwe gai ruja du pu penje no ba kena dun lew. Yamu kwa ba kena dolar piem ba elwe toy ke ben dolar adu. Bikin bang tundungan dolar kidal. Kuran kin dolar dia juan kin makwe kwa kwa kin dolar kagyan. Yama kwe gai ruja du pu penje no ba kena dun lew. Yamu kwa ba kena dolar piem ba elwe toy ke ben dolar adu. Bikin bang tundungan dolar kidal. Kuran kin dolar dia juan kin makwe kwa kwa kin dolar kagyan. Yama kwe gai ruja du pu penje no ba kena dun lew. Yamu kwa ba kena dolar piem ba elwe toy ke ben dolar adu. Bikin bang tundungan dolar kidal. Kuran kin dolar dia juan kin makwe kwa kwa kin dolar kagyan. Bikin bang tundungan dolar kidal. Kuran kin dolar dia juan kin makwe kwa kwa kin dolar kagyan. Bikin bang tundungan dolar kidal. Kuran kin dolar dia juan kin makwe kwa kwa kin dolar kagyan. Jadana yom gula yom kala yom me yom pe magala par majong awan kijama majig mana tialam anu panu kunga utong akur betong abado betul betul doa tialam wa baka tialam etoina na udia kamu ya bati kurto uga daguni kelora ni kunya kukinjira kamloy open pot kilek isen media yana banai angur toy doa tialam na koy kamen mi ay chokan wel toy kali bay wala bagyam ni chokan opal chokular bay bala purram jadana yom gula yom kala yom be dom pe magala par majong awan kijama majig mana tialam anu panda kunga ay utong akur betong abado betul betul doa tialam wa baka tialam etoina na udia kamu ya pagi kurto uga daguni kelora ni kunya kukinjira kamloy open pot kilek isen media yana banai angur toy doa tialam na koy kaman mi ay chokan wel toy kali bay kula bagyam ni chokan opal chokular.
Welcome to Legacy Media, everybody. For those of you who join me in Facebook, YouTube, and also in Twitter and Clubhouse. So welcome today. Today, Legacy Media is coming live to send our condolences message to our loved one that the incident that happened yesterday. We lost our dear citizens that the tragedy of car plane that crashed in is a really sad time when we see that crash killed 20 people and only one is survived. So on behalf of Legacy Media and me, my own behalf, on behalf of my family and the rest, we send our heartfelt condolences to the family that who lost their loved one in this tragedy. That's what being said. So this is our topic of today. So I have few things. So I have two topics I will talk about. I will talk about Tumaini and this crash. Before I go to the next topic, I would like to say that this, as you know, being a South Sudanese, South Sudan has experienced a lot of crashes, plane crash for the last, we have seen 2011. We have seen people die from the plane crash. Why is it? What is it? What cause of this plane crash? The plane that South Sudan are using are outdated. the plane that our South Sudan are using, there's no any maintenance that we see. And there's no safety protocol that the people are follow, whether the pilot or the people who own the plane and the government itself. If you can see the death since the day 2011 till 2025, 14 years for the deaths, people who died from the plane crash. Let me read out in 2015, which is 2015, November 4th, 2015. So there's a crash, Antinope, crash that, so they killed, that Antinope on 2015 killed 38 people. Only one survived on that plane crash. On 2017, South Sudan's Supreme Airline, Antinope, crashed on March 20th, 2017. And that there's no any deaths on that crash, but 37 were injured. Okay. On the 2018, another crash happened in Southwest Airline that they did on September 9, 2018. In Yerul. This is one of the past. This was the time that in Yerul, Lake of Yerul, crash that killed the bishop, and the rest. Some of my family members died on that crash. Only 3 survived. Small girls. She was like 5 or 6 years old. Survived on that crash. Another 2. Okay. On the 2020, there's another same Southwest airline crash on August 2020. 8 people died and 1 survived. Okay. And then on March 31st, 2024, Boeing 727 crashed in Malakal Airport. 1 injury, but no death, which is a good thing. On the March 20th, 2024, there's another plane crash, but no deaths, but 5 survived on that crash due to the weather condition. And on and then for this late on January 29, 2025, which happened yesterday, that's killed 20 people and only one survived. So this is the so why is it all of these crashes happen, people dying, but there's no any action from the government or from the people who own the plane? All of these planes, if you can see in this picture, this plane, there's no any country are using this plane. This plane has been put at retirement. Nobody using any Western country. They are not using this plane. These planes are not functioning, but South Sudan are using them. The citizens are dying. Another thing, plane too, as you can see in this picture, this plane, another thing, our people overload the plane, okay? The overload, like the way that they overload the car. I remember when I go to South Sudan and travel by, because I refuse to travel this plane. When I go home and I want to go to my own village, I will travel by car. And when I will see how they overload the car. That's the same way that they overload the plane. And the plane is not same like a car, okay? There is percentage amount of the weight that the plane can carry. But our South Sudan, our mentality as South Sudanese, we don't do that. Okay, we overweight, we overload the way that we overload a car, but you cannot compare the car and the plane. Okay. And second, two, there are certain type of seed that the plane certain people plane can carry, and the seed, but people don't do that. So why are we not learning from all of this incident happened since 2011 until now? So this is the time for the Being to learn from this and to stop this incident to happen again. And also we have this one survivor, his name is Makir McCoy. He's the only one survivor on that plane yesterday crash. So just a few of update regarding about his health. We have seen a report of today. He was taken to surgery and he is doing well. According to the report that we received, his surgery is successfully. We thank God for that. And he will recover. We pray for him for speed recovery on the road of recovery. So we hope that he will continue to do that, and we pray for his speed recovery. So and thank God that he's the only survivor on that plane crash. So that is our condolence message and message to the South Sudanese. Please, the government need to do better than this. The government need to put the protocol and also talk to those people who own this airline to stop bring this outdated plane to South Sudan to kill the innocent people. So my next, and also to my other condolences that I'm going to send it to here in the United States where I am. We have another incident too, the plane crash happened 2 days ago. I mean, yeah, yesterday, actually, last night, killed a lot of people. The military plane crashed with the civilian helicopter. The civilian plane crashed with the helicopter military, killed many people. Nobody survived in that. My heart and my condolences go to the family who lost those that incident too here in the United States. My next topic is regarding about the Tumaini. So I have few videos that I will play. Let me see if this guy is not in the room yet. Okay, there are a few video people. Before I go ahead, let me. Majok, do you want to weigh in regarding about the incident of plane crash that happened before I move to the next topic? Majok, do you hear me? Yeah, if you can hear me, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Abraham Adit. First of all, to our viewers, the audience here, thank you so much for joining. And while we have just started, I believe many people will join us in the process. Secondly, I need to appreciate Abraham Adit for creating this room. When the incident happened yesterday, I also took a time to come to Central Media, especially on Clubhouse, to check whether you have created a room, but you were occupied yesterday. To begin with, our people, Abraham, you have actually highlighted some of the data, which is very important in order to let our people know that plane.
Yeah, Majok, we cannot hear you. Your mic is cut off.
I think.
Okay, now we
clear
can.
Now?
Yeah, now we can hear you. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was saying it's very good that you have highlighted some of the data that you have collected in regard to the plane crash in South Sudan. It is true indeed that the plane crash has becoming one of the monsters that is consuming our people in a span of 2 to 3 months, almost every year. And our government always turn a blind eye onto that. To be honest, what happened yesterday in Unity State is tragic, and it is a huge loss to the country, to the families, and to everybody that involved. The people that die on that crash are all professional engineers, and these are workforce for our country.
Yeah, Majuk, your mic is cut off again. We cannot hear you.
I think I have issues with my phone because I'm on my way driving. Yeah, that's the issue.
Okay, now it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really sad. We send our condolences to the family of the victims. And our last message, or my message personally to the government of South Sudan, is that if you cannot provide food or security to the people of your country, then please, you need to watch out and make sure you review the civil aviation of South Sudan policy. Because South Sudan is becoming a dumping ground of old aircrafts, which have been used in the 1980s in East African countries. Most of these planes that are killing our people in South Sudan, most of them were hired here in what they call Wilson airports in Nairobi, Kenya. Others were taken from Kampala, Uganda. And these are all grounded airplanes. But because our people are so much into the business idea, they just go there and hire you, pay 120,000 US dollars, and then they will give you that old plane. You'll take it to South Sudan and then you'll use it to carry people as a means of transportation domestically. And lately now we are becoming victims of such old airplanes. So it is really what is happening in our country is tragic and is out of ignorance. Because our government is too naive and too busy with their peace deals and all that. And they neglect the part of human life. All these planes need to be reviewed. They really need to be reviewed, especially the civil aviation. We have good engineers in that field who can actually look into the issue of those planes. But it's really sad that we are not making use of those engineers. I believe our government will at least wake up and do something in regard to civil aviation and try to make sure all the domestic flights must be examined, re-examined until they reach to a certain level, and also talk to the business people. Otherwise, more deaths will continue. So this is what I can add, Abraham Adit, and thank you so much for creating the room.
Thank you, Mr. Majuk. Yeah, absolutely. You are. Absolutely, you are right. So it's really sad thing that to see the government need to do better than that, because these planes are outdated and they need to not to allow this kind of plane in the country. Even though the country is lack of plane, but they need to, for the sake for their safety, so they need to stop bringing this kind of plane in the country. And those of you who are love to travel by plane, you guys need for your sake, please stop taking this kind of plane. You better to work by foot or by those cars that take many hours to reach your destination. It's better than you take those instead of risking your life to die for nothing. Even though this plane are not, there's no insurance. They have no insurance. Even though there's something incident happen, there's no any the company who own this plane cannot. They don't have insurance. They didn't insure this plane kind of plane. So all of that is really our heart is really bleeding and paying for those innocent lives that we just lost for nothing. It's really a sad day in the country. And I hope the government is not learning from all of this incident happened in 2011 and 2025, and they are not doing nothing about it. So I don't know. So it's really a troubling. It's a really bad stuff that the government is not taking action regarding by all of this incident happened. So let me move to the next topic. My next agenda on my today is regarding Tumaini. As all of you know, Tumaini peace talk is ongoing in Nairobi, and the parties have agreed, reached an agreement to what their agenda that they are discussed. Today, I have seen that they are talking about the root cause of the conflict in South Sudan. That's their agenda today. So my question, I have some of the video that I would play. And before I play those video, very quick, I just want to discuss a little bit about this Tumaini. They talk about the root cause. They are talking about the root cause of conflict in South Sudan. Okay, that's what they are talking for. Tumaini, I mean the opposition and the government delegate in Nairobi today. And now, so what I'm seeing here, yes, it's good to talk about the root cause. That's a good thing. Talk about the root cause. Now, after you guys talk about the root cause, what about accountability? Are you guys going to talk about accountability? If you guys define what was the root cause of the war of 2013 that lead the country in this stage. So when you got out what the root cause was, so what will be the accountability? Those people who are behind of that war in 2013, there will be accountability. Accountability is on your agenda for this peace talk in Nairobi, because some of you, most of you, whether you are in opposition side or government side, you guys were a part of the root cause of conflict of 2013. So now accountability. This is where the problem is. Okay, accountability. So if you define the root cause, what about accountability? I want to see that in your peace talk in Nairobi. So will you guys be willing enough to talk about the accountability and what are the solutions? What will be the outcome of that before you guys reach an agreement? That's my question to all of you parties that in Nairobi, Kenya. And also to you guys talk about Tumaini will be emerged with the ARCES of 2018. That's what government is saying, and the opposition are saying, no, we are not emerged with the Tumaini, with the ARCES. So we want a stand-alone agreement. Okay, and this is where you guys start now in the peace talk in Nairobi. Before we go, let me play this video. Before I play this video, let me bring in Yakani to talk about the Imuniakani visit the place, the area where there's incident of this crash happened in Unity State. So Imuniakan will give us a brief update regarding about what did you find out and what happened and how things going on there. Inumun, if you can hear me, you can open your mic and give us a little brief about what you find on the ground.
Thank you very much. I visited the site. As I speak with you right now, I'm in Corner because I'm on my field visit. And this field visit is within the situation that happened that we have witnessed with our refugees. So I want to check the border of Unity State. But then, of course, as I'm planning to come here, the tragedy accident happened. First, condolence to the families of those whom we have lost as South Sudanese and their loved ones, and also condolence to those who are not South Sudanese, like Chinese and Indians that have lost in the plane. And of course, thank you, Madid, and I see my job here, and some are down there. I could have come early, but I've been in the room of in moving room of Bashir, Chang. These people are fighting there is tribal language. I don't like to bring it here, but I will later on, whether tomorrow or when I can follow them. So as right now I'm speaking with you, I'm on the ground in Corner, and tomorrow I'll be in Ruing, and I will be handling the process of Unity State and growing peaceful coexistence. There's a border disputes that are coming up, and we're trying to diffuse it because it's almost taking the communities into a deadly violence. And while alongside also looking into the issues of our refugees who are at the site of Unity at the borderline. So the sites of the incident, it is really disturbing, brothers. What happened is this. The plane took off from the airstrip, didn't take 5 minutes, it fell back. The common language here, people are saying it's a collapse of an engine. And of course, almost all people died. It's only one passenger who was alive. And investigating with the people who are eyewitness in the situation where the plane fell down, they say actually the sound of the plane changed after taking off from the airstrip. It didn't take long, like 1 minute from the airstrip off, immediately the sound of the engine changed. So like 5 minutes, the plane fell. And almost the way how this plane crashed. Madid, your mic is open, huh?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the way how this incident happened, almost it constitutes a similar incident, which is now 4 in nature out of 10 incidences since our independence. We've seen 2011 until now, if you see incidents just like of same kind, it's the same. Some of them are on landing mistakes, human error during landing, but we have incidents where planes have taken off and they collapse. Almost the one from the back side, now this one, and there's like about 4 of them. So the indication from a common sense that you can see is that we have planes in South Sudan that their lifespan have already come to an end, or it have already worn out of use, or is longer important for use. But we have South Sudanese who want to climb business in short way. They brought these planes and become a dumping ground. South Sudan become a dumping ground. And I think our aviation authority, in terms of plane standard maintenance, they don't take it serious. And I asked somebody in the state, in the airstrip, and say, you don't have inspection of such flights once it land here and take off. And remember, these are airstrips that are also dust. These are airstrips that are tarmac. So one of the guys told me something very simple. I don't know whether it is God speaking or it's him speaking. He told me, Edmund, with the poverty we're in, with the economical crisis we're in, bribes sometimes make us compromise with standards. But imagine you compromise with the standards that puts people's life in that risk. So I think that message is an honesty statement. And I think it's not only here in the site of Unity State, I'm going to this apply across the country and even in the headquarters of our civil aviation in Juba. Because how do you allow this plane to take off and they keep on crashing like that? And always investigation have been done. And the results of the investigation doesn't have a very concrete solutions that tend to be adapted or tend to be accepted or agreed upon and to prevent more further incidents. So imagine since 2011 until now, you have similar terrible incidents, 10 of them. So in a period of almost like 20 years or less than 20 years, you have almost every 2 years you have plane crash or annually plane crash. Sometimes people doesn't lost their lives. And remember this plane crash like a cargo which crash also took off from Juba and it falls before it crossed the river to Jazeera. The same crash almost the plane crashed. That is Antonov. So it means the planes that we have on the ground in Juba, their safety standards are really compromised so much. And why is it compromised? It's something that needs to be investigated further. So on the ground here, people have lost their lives. And then, of course, one of the things that I already start feeling on the ground is start taking a political angle. People are saying maybe this plane is planted. Why? Because staff of one company, of Chipok, and the plane came very well. It brought some people, then when it takes off, people class. So it is offering a threat. Of course, we have seen the response of the country. At the level of the office of president, minister, they have demanded for investigation. And when I'm speaking with you, when I was in the site, already the investigation process going on, they sort of like seal the site, you can't go close to the plane. But of course, people like us as activists, we do investigate around and talk to people around the area of the site. So for me, it's really tragic incident, and we have lost very professional South Sudanese engineers in the field of the oil exploration. So if you see that number of 19, it's a big loss, because how many years will the country take to produce such number of 19 that we have lost, and how expensive it is? But this is a situation we're in now. So people are mourning, family are mourning, and it have already brought a question. When I was coming to Bentiu, I used UN flights. But when I was boarding the UN flight, the passengers who are with me, the UN flight, were saying, will there any more people want to go with commercial airlines? And I remember before I asked my colleagues of my staff to book for me commercial airline, they refused. They said, no, we can't. We can't completely, because safety with this crisis is not confirmed. So this is a situation we're in. The country is in panic. There's a actually huge loss of public confidence on our commercial airlines, which is supposed to be domestic. And I'll give you indicator. Remember, in some groups we've been fighting about economic liberation. Now with this plane crash, South Sudanese company in the field of aviation are not going to succeed, simply because they'll be identified as this is the way how South Sudanese companies go. And then instead of us getting businesses for our South Sudanese business in the sector of the aviation, we may lose it. And already there's one company called Kush, which is more of a South Sudanese Ethiopian mix. They're using second-hand Ethiopian planes, or what they call condemned Ethiopian planes in Addis. They are brought here to use in South Sudan, but at least because their service is done in Ethiopia, Kush Air is a bit surviving compared to other airlines. So Kush Air is going to take the dominance of the market. But also this tells you how huge it have affected mobility of our population. And remember, if you want to talk about human growth and development and economical growth, human mobility is very, very, very important. And of course, errors are there. It's not something that is unique incident. Errors are there, but at least these incidents need to be in a manner that you can minimize. I know in US, there's a 2 plane which crashed, helicopter, and another plane, and I don't know how that divert attention. Those are the human errors that may happen. And of course, I've been reading the reports in CNN that the tower control is very, very poor. That led to the crash of those planes. But why should we lose our lives for people in that manner? Of course, it's something that we don't blame anybody for it. We have seen similar incidents in other parts of the world. But I think as South Sudan government, we need to put pressure and to advocate the government of South Sudan to really improve safety of its, because imagine if these are supposed to be other leaders. And it's not for the first time. Remember how we lost some of the leaders like Justin Yaj in the plane crash. So it's something that we can't avoid, but let it be as an error beyond human control. But where planes are crashing while there's an error that humanly can be controlled, that's really terrible. But otherwise, I'll tell you, it's a sad news. Now, if you see Juba, so many funerals that are going on in Juba, living in Juba. So that's why I'm here on the ground. And of course, if there's anybody who wants some updates about how Unity State look like, alongside of this update, I'm ready to provide. And as I go to Rueng, if I'm out of Rueng also, we can share more tomorrow evening. Because tomorrow I'll be having the meeting of Governor of Unity State and Chief Administrator of Rueng will be in Rueng, discussing the issue of peaceful coexistence among these two communities because of the much tension among the two communities due to issues of borderline between Unity State and Rueng and the oil fields. And you have seen already the debate that are going on, and some of you might have been watching the Deputy Speaker in the Council of State. One of my colleagues, when she posted about the plane crash, and was they find the land oil field, and it's to start in the evening when it's moving in corner town. It's already merging tensions, but of course, these are issues that politically is causing damage to our social fabric. But of course, as an activist, we can't give up. We follow them wherever they are. And of course, I took this as a priority to the peace mediation in Nairobi, but I'm here on the ground with our people. For those of you who are from Bentiu, I'll say Male, for those who are from Rueng, but of course, we'll keep on continuing. But the incident is a tragic incident that we all pay condolence to the families and friends of those who we have lost and the country have lost. And I wish that the country could have actually been lowered the flag, because we have to honor the lives of those professionals that we have lost them in the play. Wouldn't have the country have made condolences, and President have been proactive in announcing investigation and the Minister for Investigation. So we hope that we push for transparent investigation. And this time round, we need to really follow up decisions that are going to be undertaken by the leadership of the country in terms of how to minimize similar incidences. Thank you very much, Madid and Majok, and those who are down there listening. So I keep on concluding by saying condolence to the families of those who have lost, be it South Sudanese, Chinese, or Indians. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edmund, for our update. It's really tragedy. Our condolences go to the family who lost their loved one. Majok, do you have a question to Edmund before I move to my next topic? Okay, Majok, are you there?
Yep, but I'm not driving, so maybe you can move on to the next topic. When I'm settled later on, I will ask something.
Okay, thank you.
Majok, how are you?
Yeah,
Majok, how are you? How are you?
Let me appreciate the prominent activist, Mr. Eddie.
You disappear, man. I thought you're going to be one of the advisors of Trump, or Trump have taken you for campaign. That's why you disappear. Start coming with executive orders. 78 is one that I said.
Instead of Trump taking me to campaign, he's now looking for me to take me back to South Sudan so that I can give back President Kiir and Young Machar.
Do you know anyone? Trump is to make a lot of deportation, so we are deported back. they are now in my city.
America. He said he want to clean up America.
Also, we will clean up the interest in the region here. We will clean up the interest. The human beings will clean the interest. So take for that. But anyway, this is his last time. I don't know. The guy came so harsh. America first.
Yeah. Okay, so let me move to my next question, Ilmun. We are moving to Tumaini Peace Talk in Nairobi. Before I go in asking you this question, let me play this video, and then we pick up from there. I have some of the video that I want to play, but let me play the first video.
Made significant progress. This clearly shows good day for mediation. Thank you for having me today. The government, the opposition, and the stakeholders made significant progress. This clearly shows good day for mediation. The parties agreed to all the agenda items that we proposed. The first one is about negotiating parties in terms of clarity of the names of the parties. The second one is root causes of conflict. The third is relationship between Araxis and Tumaini in terms of reputation and implementation mechanism. And the last one is on responsibility sharing. These are the agreed agenda items. In fact, the mediation took opportunity to commend and to congratulate the parties and the stakeholders for reaching these milestones.
So what are we expecting tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow we expect the parties to continue with the first item, and that is about clarity of the negotiating parties. This will be dealt with first thing in the morning, and we hope to reach consensus on this one and progress to the root causes of the conflict.
What has it taken?
Okay, let me stop right there, Ilmun. So yes, so everybody's agreed to all agenda item. And one of the agenda that they are discussed today is the root cause of conflicts. Can you pick up from there?
Yeah, thank you very much. First, I tend to commit myself for this particular stage because I know this stage is still why the psychological or ideological classes, which have been the routine for the last phase before the breakdown of the Christmas. So as you listen to Ambassador Guyo, and the person speaking was the deputy mediator, and sometimes one Lazo Simbe is not there, he's the one taking his call, Ambassador Guyo. He's a very strong character, so he's the one briefing. And I remember that particular briefing was done in a joint press conference where also Lual was speaking on behalf of the opposition and Martin Elie was speaking on behalf of the government, where they've agreed on the agenda items. Agenda item number one, they have discussed it the day before yesterday, and I think the conclusion is referred back to leadership in Juba, whether the new name of the United People Alliance should be allowed to be reflected in the upcoming documents that are products of Tumaini. Because the government standpoint is that they don't know this group. This group is a new group. They are not there right from the Rome peace process. They've never had of such alliance. And this group have declared a war, so they want to know whether they're dealing with a new group. And this is the language I'm quoting from that. They're saying, are we dealing with new group or an old group? Of course, and the opposition have very clearly understand that they can't change the name because they have received quite a number of challenges. And sometimes the government, and if you heard about the interview of Lual with IRAD, where he's justifying the reasons why they formed the coalition and what the intent of the coalition. In summary, the intent of the coalition is that they want to consolidate themselves instead of being different parties. They want to have a structural leadership style that is easy. And of course, normally, in any mediation, is good that when you have too many groups, they better centralize leadership so that it is decision-making and it is compromises. It have intention, but of course, they have declared a military wing, which was not there, and the government failed that. That's a declaration of war where you have Stephen Y is now chief of staff, and they have declared songs. So some people fail in the government. That's wrong. And of course, that also engaged the president to communicate to the Kenyan government. So why Kenyan government should use the space of the mediation for such group to organize themselves and declare war. And of course, there's diplomatic conversation going on between Juba and Nairobi over the new group. So that issue was discussed thoroughly, and it was referred for the presidency to offer the final decision from the government side. And of course, the opposition said they will remain with that one. So root causes were discussed, and there are so many of them. Anyway, if you look at the list of the root causes, there's nothing new apart from really absence of political commitment and will to deliver solutions to those root causes. And some of these root causes, actually, I would say 90% of it have been pronounced right from the time of 2013 until 2020. 16, where the revitalized agreement was signed in 2018. But of course, some new factors have come in, which by that time, by then, there were not big issues, but there have been issues related to issues like land disputes, armed civilians, the issue of persistency in corruption, absence of rule of law and respect of human rights. So all these other factors, emerging factors that keep on developing every year as the country is running on. So I think that is where. So the question that maybe is more stronger here is that in this time round, are we expecting results? I would say we are expecting results, but the pathway to reach the results is not soft. I have to be honest with you, it's harder. Because if they are dealt with, first remember, definition of the root causes is not going to be a big deal, which is today. Because everybody cannot disagree with the defining root cause or underlying factor or what we call planning issues. Nobody has a problem with that, whether opposition or government. But the problem is around one, the naming of the document. If the documents come out, how are you going to frame the name? And remember, the naming itself, it brings the two school of thoughts. Is it an annex to our access? That means the Tumaini consensus document. Will it be an annex to our access? The concept of it being an annex to our access is the government interest, while the opposition interest that it should remain a standalone document. If you do interpretation of standalone document, it means our access become an annex to Tumaini outcome. And by the term annex, mainly they refer to be a reference point. It means at any time you can ignore it as a reference point. So agenda item number 1, it will get also implicated in the naming of the outcome and the framing of the outcome document. It will affect that. That means this name of the coalition, it has to go to the final agreement documents. And that's where there's a person of government that where they come from, are they new government? That's what we say. The second agenda item and the third agenda and the fourth agenda item is going to be also problematic. When it comes to institutions, when it comes to the linkage happen direct link with the naming. Of course, as the stakeholders, we have already offered a proposal that we need a merger of the pending task of our access and then the new ideas that came out of Tumaini, which were abandoned at the time of our access, were on major issues, but they are major issues. And if we merge them, then we generate a merger document. And the merger document can be our access to Tumaini agreement for political transition in the Republic of South Sudan. So then the principle that you do for the merger use a concept of complementarity. So improve provisions of the current our access with the new ideas from Tumaini. You amalgamate them, you get them together, you merge them to produce one document. That's what I will answer to you, Majid, in terms of the Tumaini. And I think the best is that the speed they're going on now is a bit positive, specific, and today also they had a very good one. And even breaking through for agenda items is much more better in the way how they sequence. And I think the opposition have compromised in terms of the agenda items, because that agenda item list is the way how the incumbent government want it to be. But I think opposition compromise, because whether you take power or responsibility sharing number 1 or you put it in the middle, or whatever, even this is still this agenda items remain as they are. So the way how they are written 1, 2, 3, 4 shouldn't matter. What matters is the substance of whether you start with the 4 or you start with 1 or you start with 3. So the substance, I think there they have agreed, which is a good spirit. And today the root causes we have seen it is too many, but mainly if you can summarize them, 1 is high level of corruption without accountability and transparency. You have extrajudicial killing and arbitrary arrest and detention. And then you have the issue of land disputes. And of course, land has so many disputes. Some of them have to do with mining, with illegal logging, all those ones. And then oil exploration. The continuing question of economic sector where we don't have proper functional government institutions that will improve our economy, whether it comes to management of our liquidity or generating more revenue. So there's so many factors there. So that's I think my answer to that. Madit.
Yes. Thank you, Edmund. Yeah. So My next, so you talk about, yeah, so that's a good update regarding about the root cause of conflict that they discussed today. Will they talk about the accountability after they complete the root cause of conflict?
Obviously, yes, accountability. Accountability cannot be avoided. Transparency cannot be avoided. It's part and parcel absence of accountability and provision of timely and adequate access to justice. So those are the things that I mentioned actually. Because I read the document, the final document of the opposition, which actually took like 2 hours. The opposition took 2 hours to explain the root causes. And of course, we're waiting the response now and discussion of it in the government accord, and also stakeholders present what they define as root causes of the conflict. So almost it's similar, it's not new. And this is what the last time we were saying with Rajab, that if you throw away Tumaini and throw other access, and you ask people to write new agreements, they will write it actually over 60% of the implementation of the other access or the Tumaini. So it means what defines the pathway for democratic state and functional government of South Sudan is known to all of us, but we escape to take responsibility of finding solutions to those issues. So I think that's what I'd like to say, that accountability is part of it. And in the concept of the merger, also accountability have never been ignored and must be a line of the spirit of the call for accountability and our access. And of course, with Tumaini, have strengthened the institutions of accountability much more stronger. But the provisions, there's no differences, and there's no any what we call disagreement over the call for accountability and transparency. Yes, Madit.
So emerge. You talk about the emerge. They want to emerge Tumaini and Arsis. Are they opposition in Soma now, which is right now is the United People for Alliances? Do they agree to emerge Tumaini with Arsis? Will they agree to that or enact to Arsis?
I think what is coming common is that both sides have accepted the concept of the merger. Mm-hmm. So you merge the two, and when you merge the two with the concept of complementarity. So it means you bring new ideas from Tumaini to strengthen provisions of our access, institution of our access, and also you make sure that you observe under our access some of the new progressive and innovative ways from Tumaini that will strengthen either a provision or strengthen capacity of an institution, but also the way how Tumaini set up institutions to function independently in a manner that you don't duplicate the institutions. Because by then, under access, there's a lot of duplications where I have MPTC from one side, other mechanisms from another side, Ministry of Finance from another side, presidency. So those are the things that also will be considered under the merger. So the merger means you create an implementable political framework for transforming the country. Of course, you can't deliver everything in 2 years' time. Some of them will be a post-elections actions, but you commit yourself right from time like this one to commit that after whoever is elected, there's a pathway to resolve some of the disputes and the issues that our communities or societies are facing. I yield the mic back to you.
Thank you. Majuk, do you have anything to add? So thank you, Edmund. So if we talk about emerge and when I see like they are now agree on to that pretty much two agreement together, which is a good thing to see. And you mentioned one of the very important point regarding about when Soma, which is now United People's Alliances. So the question is, when they come up with this new name, and now it will be debating, I don't know, did peace mediator, did they accept the new name, come up with opposition? Anyone, yeah.
So in terms of the new coalition, yes, in terms of the new coalition, in terms of the new coalition, it may have legal implications in terms of the documents that we will follow. after the birth of the coalition. And of course, this is not a political issue. This typical a legal issue about like this group that comes from, and I think that's the reason why the mediation play back the ball for the parties to reach consensus. Of course, there's a mediation. If the parties agree as a negotiator by the government, so that name used to use. And I think that's why Tuba was referred to looking at the issue, the leadership. So they accept it go, mediation have nothing, so they accept it go. And of course, from behind the curtains is a damage to Kenya reputation. And I think Kenya is also taking the responsibility of maintaining and managing that damage that they have caused, and specifically the declaration of the war. And multiple times we have had government officials say Kenya have allowed its space under the mediation of Tumaini to be used for mobilizing, strategizing, and declaring a war, which actually also obviously having zones declared publicly and chief of service appointed is really a declaration of war. And I think that's a damage in diplomacy, and I think but they are managing it at that level of government correction of mistakes or damage that they have incurred. But as I said, in terms of acceptance, the government will be waiting more of the leadership. In opposition, at least the leadership is now with them. So easily opposition will not take time, but government will take time in terms of whether the new PA should be used in the final documents of the agreement. So I think that's the area of hardship of whether that new name will be taken. And of course, with the Kenyan mediation, they can't accept that until the parties give a consent that yes, these are the names we want to use, and this is the way how we use it. Then from there, the mediation of Kenya will take it up. But otherwise, if not taken up, they will still force the parties to reach consensus on what should be used in the final document. I yield the mic back to you.
Thank you, Inamon. Yeah, before we continue with our discussion regarding Tumaini, I have a video to play here from one of the leader and chairman of Real SPLM, General Pagana Mom. He was interviewed yesterday at the radio community in Nairobi. They interviewed him. I will play this video, and then we'll pick up from there, because we need to listen to these leaders, what they are saying. Even also there's a video about 7 minutes for General Paul Mulunga one, talk about it. But I don't know if we have the time, because we will go there. But let me play this video from General Pagana Mom, so and then we'll continue with our discussion.
And you actually make, because you are not new people in South Sudan. You've once been in this government. And the South Sudanese want to hear the difference that you're coming to make and the difference that you are promising them.
We've been in that government before the crisis of 2013. It has been 11 years ago. From 2013, the people of South Sudan have been in suffering worse than any other time before. Under that government, we were not part of it. We are not part of it up to today. Now, it is very clear where the failure is. It is very clear when we raised our voices in 2012 and 2013 that the leadership has lost vision and lost direction, and that the country is going in the wrong direction, and there is need for change. We've been vindicated by time, because what we said the country was going to suffer, and the people were going to suffer, and the country was going to fail, is proven now. What is new that we are going to bring, and why are we insisting on the change we talked about, a fundamental change in the country? First, it is about peace. Ending all the conflicts in the country is a necessity. Addressing all the various conflicts that cause instability for our people, particularly in the countryside, like insecurity resulting from cattle rustling and community violence, conflicts arising from land disputes, the spread of tribalism and regionalism that is dividing the country, which are policies that the current leadership has been actually fomenting. They have divided our people along tribal lines, even within tribes along clan lines, and they have fomented disputes, including land disputes, among neighboring communities that never had any problem among themselves before, like what is happening in Upper Nile, like what is happening in Bahr Ghazal between Tuj and Ngob, like what is happening in Tumbra between our communities of Zande and Blanda, and issues of land grabbing and land disputes in Juba and many other parts of Equatoria, also as a result of movement of cattle and armed cattle herders into farming communities, causing problems in the absence of any government moving to solve these problems. These are issues that we want to address, and they must be solved. We have also to reconcile our people, because in 2013, our communities have been divided into tribes, and even the war of 2013 was fought along tribal lines, and very deep wounds have been inflicted. There is no way we can build this country and maintain its unity without reconciling our people. We need to address these issues and confront them. These are changes that we need to bring in the area of peace and achieving stability. In the area of management of resources, this government has been captured by cartels and elites associated with the leadership in the country. They are looting the state to the point that they loot all the resources, to the point that the government is not able to pay salaries of the civil servants or the army or the police or anybody, causing collapse of the state and creating economic crisis in the country. We need to manage our resources in a transparent way, which is being resisted by the current government now. These are changes that we need to bring. Then we need to bring a constitutional system of governance. What we have now is autocratic dictatorship. That must change. We need to bring rule of law. We must have a constitution that put all the powers and then entrench that power in the hands of the people to elect their government in free, periodic and peaceful elections, so that we can have a system of good governance and a government that can deliver, a government that can serve the people. These changes must come. Otherwise, there will be no peace in the country.
Just from these discussions and the need for this change, looking at also the schedules of election that are for 2026, will you tell South Sudanese that some things will actually materialize within this and aligns with the need for a lasting peace and the election that is expected? What do you people as an opposition have on regard to elections?
First and foremost, elections are being delayed and postponed by the current government, because it fails to implement agreements, it fails to implement the reform agenda in the peace agreements. That is why we are insisting that first and foremost, we need to ensure that any agreement that we sign, it must be fully implemented. We must have internal grantors, external grantors to ensure that the agreement is fully implemented. Not like RRCs, which they keep extending and postponing the right of our people to elect their government in free and peaceful elections. And if you look into the protocols we have agreed, there's a protocol on permanent constitution making to ensure that we have a permanent constitution that defines the system of governance in our country, and which must be delivered before the end of the transitional period and before the conduct of election, and use that constitution as the basis for holding elections, as the legal basis for holding election, as a system of rule of law, guaranteeing all the freedoms and the basic rights of our people, so that our people are free to organize themselves, to criticize their government, to campaign for the government they want, and to elect their government. And for the political parties to also organize freely, not under the draconian laws like the national security law. This must change. It is unconstitutional. It is against the basic rights of our people. These are necessary things to be done. And then ensure that this agreement, if we are to sign it, then we make sure that it is implemented. The problem is the current government. It lacks seriousness. It has been delaying the process, including the Tumaini, either by reneging from what it has already agreed, or by delaying the process, adopting unreasonable positions, or even delaying for several months, not turning up for the talks, like now. They have been invited and they have not come, and time is being wasted. This is all delay tactics by the government. Why? Because they want to continue legitimately holding onto power. And the elections of 2026, which they have agreed to, will only be postponed by them because they are not doing anything to ensure elections. Since they extended themselves, they have not implemented a single thing of the agreement. 2026 will come, and their committee, the high-level committee, will go and meet the presidency and come and announce, because we did not implement the agreement, we are forced to extend again. That's clear for our people. Our people know who is delaying their right to elect their government. It is this government.
And,
it is clear.
It's okay. And although you people are also coming for power, and your coming for power also will look the same.
No, it is totally different. Actually, if we were coming for power, that's what they wanted. You know what they were telling us? Mm-hmm. Right from the beginning, and even this delegation, when they came, they are approaching each one of us as leaders. Just join us, we will incorporate you into the government. Don't talk about peace, don't talk about stability, don't talk about the economic crisis, don't talk about ending the suffering of the people. They want us to join them in sharing power, and in return we go silent. That is what they want to do. That's what they have been doing. This is what they want to do with us. How many of the leaders whom they have taken through agreements that are not implemented to join them, and they are in Juba? You can go and ask them. They've been given houses, they've been given money, and they've been told to keep silent. And some of them have even been denied not to travel, not to go anywhere, for fear that they may not go back. This is what the government has been doing. So they don't want to solve the problem. They just want to share power,
okay,
and not solve the problem of the people.
And
some people are saying, why are you talking about bringing peace, a just peace? You just come and take power.
What have you been over?
We are looking for peace. That is why we are not in Juba today.
Okay.
If it is for power, we would be in Juba, would have been in Juba many years ago. If it is about power.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm sure our people knows this very clearly.
That's good. And maybe our last question that we will want to also know, and for South Sudanese also to be very clear about it, is actually back to the UPA. Yes, UPA look a political alliance, but we have also seen a position there for the Chief of General Staff.
Yes.
Why would the political wing or a political alliance have a Chief of Defense Force?
Because we have armies. And we are uniting all those armies under one umbrella.
Yeah, and that's bring me now to internal programs of your parties under this alliance. This one now tell us that real SPLMs or the South Sudan United Fronts and Salvation Fronts all will not be on their position, but there will be one party?
We are an alliance.
Okay.
We are an alliance of many parties. We have agreed to work together on the basis of a minimum program that we have agreed to. It is basically how to build a peaceful, just, and a prosperous new South Sudan. That is our vision. And towards this vision, we will struggle together to achieve that fundamental change in our country. We, as an organization, we are aware that our people have been divided along tribal and regional lines, and that is one of the tragedies that we have. And UPA is based on ensuring the unity of the people of South Sudan. This is an alliance to promote and build the unity of the people of South Sudan. We come from all the three regions. We come from all the states of South Sudan. That is why, that's the core objective of UPA.
Okay.
And we are going to use all means possible to achieve this goal. All means.
What are you willing to do? What compromise are you willing to offer as talk resume?
We want to offer a compromise position, which we have already offered, where we call on the government and all the other stakeholders in South Sudan for us first to come in the Tumaini consensus not as enemies, but as brothers and sisters, as South Sudanese, compatriots, to rescue our country. Take our country out of the economic crisis, take our country out of failed government, take our country out of corruption and mismanagement of resources, take our country out of humanitarian disaster and also dependence on humanitarian assistance, to recover our economy and for our people to have a secure countryside so that we can produce our own food, whether it is producing cereals and pulses or producing milk and meat or producing all that we need, not only for our consumption in our economy, but also for export. We must produce a surplus.
Yeah.
And addressing all the crises that South Sudan is facing. And this compromise, we were able together as all the stakeholders, the government and the political parties, all the political parties in the government, the opposition parties, our church leaders, our civil society leaders, our women leaders, our youth leaders who have been here in the Tumaini consensus, in the Tumaini initiative, we have reached a consensus. That is a compromise, a negotiated agreement to take the country out of the current terrible situation we are in. And that's the compromise that we want the government not to jump out from.
Okay. And you also talking about the government in Juba being led by elite, and even the oppositions. You also being accused of being the only elites. How are you ensuring that there is inclusivity, that all South Sudanese views and all of them are involved in making sure that we achieve the South Sudan that we want?
This has been at the core of our discussion in the Tumaini initiative, and this is reflected in the Tumaini consensus. First, on the issue of inclusivity, we have, let us take, for example, on the Constitution, we have agreed that we shall have the constitution making process as a people's-led process inside the country, but also outside the country, to make sure that our people in diaspora, in the refugee camps, in the various countries where they have been scattered into, they participate in the making of their constitution. And we propose, and it has been agreed by all the parties, that there shall be a national consultative constitutional conference here in Kenya for our representative of our people from the opposition parties that are not comfortable to be in Juba, to discuss the issues of the constitution in Juba for now, representative of our refugees in the various camps around the country, in the neighboring countries, representative of our diaspora in other countries like United States or America, Canada, Australia, Europe, and other places like the Middle East, for example. That's one way to ensure inclusivity and participation of our people. Plus the conferences, of course, inside the country that will reflect all the 3 regions and the 10 states. We have discussed that and agreed that the stakeholders, this process should not only be limited to the political parties in the government and in the opposition, but must include representative of our church leaders, of our civil society leaders, of our women leaders, of our youth leaders in all these processes. That is how we ensure inclusivity. Well, my message to your listeners is that we in the opposition are working very hard to bring peace to the country. This is not about power sharing, as the government would want us to be engaged in. This is about ending the suffering of our people. This is about returning South Sudan back to the path of state and nation building. This is about uniting our people. This is about healing the wounds our people are suffering from. I want to call on the people of South Sudan and on your listeners to please rally behind and around Tumaini, particularly the agreed Tumaini 8 protocols, to make sure that the government does not renege from it. I would like all South Sudanese to step up the struggle for a just peace in South Sudan.
Okay. Okay. That is General Pagana Mum.
Well, I'm briefing the army for us to go for attack. Some misbehave. But I told them, although you are misbehaving, we are going to attack. There is no way. Well, I'm briefing nas tanin zaratu venus. Aku telo mata lo zaratu. Nana machine chakra. And everything is about plan. You see. The whole plan we made for 14 days. The attack was very short. We repeat them in 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Because we were assaulting from the west, and all their guns were just directed to the northeast. When we appear from the west, they shifted only manpower. Because they cannot ship the heavy gun to relocate them, to come and assemble them while people were fighting. So we were having that advantage. They shifted manpower and we repeated manpower. And the war had finished in that place. That human being, you cannot certify them. In our negotiation here, the head of the government delegation said that we don't have case to present. He said, we don't have case, and why are we here? He himself, he have case. He himself, because he have presented himself to the president, presenting resignation. He was presenting the resignation because things are not going well. That was the reason. But for him to ask for resignation and it is a case by itself, and for him to say there is no case, that one is a case by itself. If you are a woman and you said this man, I don't want to be his wife again. So there is a bigger issue in our country now. But I think we have catch the issue well. We have catch it well because in our negotiation we are not serious about position. As we say, position are not the one who can make the country to be well. Because a small country like Southern Sudan have 5 vice presidents and more than 1,000 MPs, and things are not going well. Because of position, the country would have been well. Even if all of us are made as ministers in the country will not go well. What will make it go well are very simple. We have to lead our people to a positive direction. Just like, why are we not having food in South Sudan? This country, the farming land in this country is 8%. The farmers are the Westerners from here. Our country, South Sudan, we have 82 agro land. Can produce a food that will not finish in one year. Who is stronger than God? If God want to burn this world at once, will it not finish? How can human being decide that to use his own fire is the most stronger for him to use? You see. First of all, the revolution is belong to young people. If we are seeing that country is not going well, the revolution is belong to all of you, because we have made our revolution. Those of Torit of 55 made their revolution. We made our revolution for 21 years, and we have just come out with the independence of Sudan. If there is something going wrong, it is you, young people, to make your revolution. It is not we, as the old people, to make a revolution for you. We can just make it for them. We can just administer what to be done. And this is where we are. For that South Sudan to change, it is young people who can change it. Believe me. Praise the Lord.
You heard it from all opposition leaders, their speech, and what I get out from their speech above all, they say that they are not here for the power sharing. They are not. What they want is to aid the suffering of the people of South Sudan. That's what the Tumaini is. And they are mentioned that the government tried to let them know, come in without all of this demand agreement you guys are put it on the table. We can discuss in Juba and give you position. And they say, no, we are not in for the position. Irmun, are you still with us or you sleep? I know it's late over there. Let me welcome everybody. So Irmun, okay, let me welcome Lou and Majan, Lual and Sultan, and also General Young. Welcome to the show. So let me move the line to the next. Lou, are you there?
Yes, I'm around. My dear brothers, I just enter here suddenly to let me get the people first. It's like Majak, Edmond.
Okay, for those of you in studio, thank you for watching Legacy Media. I will end the studio now, the live show in YouTube and Facebook. And for you, we are continuing our discussion in Clubhouse. So if you can join us in Clubhouse, that would be great. So have a wonderful night for those of you in Australia, in Africa, and also have a good evening for those of you in North America. I will see you guys again next time when we have another discussion. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful night. Bye now.
You bring that back, be on your irga joel, or irga cheat good on more. I chill away, I chill back, you churu ding now. To meet the lake, on your in a room get the Pontiara okin yuk, achiliu. Con you ore ne rungazie. Pontiara okin yuk, achiliu. Toyina piai wala rumbe, kain ping William. Toyina will wala pibor, kain ping William. Toyin Juba, wala tori. Yo, kain ping William. Toyin Benti wala kwaju. Kaya wow, kain ping William. Toyin Malkal wala pinyaram. Kain ping William.
Pandile legisted in an yam Bible. Pinyara, where in an yam wawadia. Pindile legisted in an yam Bible. Pinyara, where in an yam wawadia. In a bull wearing, in bull elected, when a bull rally jam, when a bull was fine. And you're the garden, a good young polito. I got a ding of a bog with young polito. Kubolo makur, kuma young makur. I better met it, cause I know about Kabin Mapinom. And you're the garden, a good young polito. I got a ding of a bog with young polito. Kubolo makur, kuma young makur. I better met it, cause I know about Kabin Mapinom. I can't do my dream. Abu Yajir, Abu Yellow, Abu Yajir, Abu Yellow, Abu Yajir, Bobby America, Abu Yajir, Bobby China, Abu Yajir, Bobby London, Abu Yajir, Bobby Dubai, Abu Yajir, Abu Yellow.
Toyina piai wala rumbe, kain ping William. Toyina will wala pibor, kain ping William. Toyin Juba, wala tori, ayam yo, kain ping William. Toyin Benti wala kwaju, kaya wow, kain ping William. Toyin Malkal wala pinyaram, kain ping William.
Have a good night.